Hey, I'm Dave and I'm making my gear. Hey, I'm Dave and I'm making my gear.
Welcome back to the S3-1200 build. Today we're going to talk about three things. We're going to talk about the tools that you're going to need to execute this project. We're going to talk about the specs that we're going to try to match on the SP-1200. And we're going to talk about just sort of like generally how we're going to accomplish building this thing. Okay? So without further ado, let's jump into the tools you're going to need to build this stuff. So first things first, get a couple solderless breadboards. These are great little devices that you can use to prototype electronic circuits. So grab a couple of these. You're going to need a bunch of breadboard jumpers. And breadboard jumpers are basically wires that you use to connect to either external devices or make point-to-point connections on the breadboard. There's a bunch of different types of breadboard jumpers. I suggest getting a bunch of male-to-male, which is these guys here. So 2 male connections on either side. And these are really useful as well, which are female to male. So it's got a male side and a female connection. So when we're building the S3-1200, the other thing we're going to need is we're going to have to get a little technical with things and take some measurements, whether it be current, voltage, resistance, things like that. So one thing you're going to need is a multimeter. This is a super useful measurement tool for electronics. So you're gonna need some hand tools for this thing. I got a screwdriver here. I've got some side cutters, some wire strippers. You might need that. Some pliers, just like general hand tools is gonna be really good to have. For the assembly phase, you're going to need a soldering iron. And I suggest like just getting a cheap variable temperature soldering iron from Amazon. This one comes with like a whole bunch of different tips. So fine tips, wider tips, that kind of thing. So get one of these. You're gonna need some solder. I got lead-free solder, some flux, and I've got some little tweezers for placing components and stuff. The other thing you're gonna need is a computer with a USB connection. That's it. And the last thing, and this is completely optional, but another handy thing to have is a oscilloscope. And what this allows you to do is actually see what's going on electronically. Don't feel like you have to purchase one of these, but they are super handy to have. That's pretty much it for the tools that you're gonna need to accomplish this project. I've made a document on my Patreon with links to all these tools that I recommend buying so that you can buy some of this stuff if you don't have it already. Let's talk about the specs of the SP-1200. One thing that we have to achieve is we have to get the 26.04 kilohertz sample rate. That kind of gives it kind of like that distorted, gritty kind of sound. It's also 12-bit audio. Then looking at the device, we know that we have 8 buttons and 8 sliders. It also has a bunch of buttons, an LCD screen for navigation. It has a 3.5-inch floppy, which obviously we're gonna do an SD card. And there's also connections around back. There's some kind of antiquated time clock stuff that we're probably not going to get into, but it does have MIDI in, out, and through, which is very important, I think. And then also we have to keep in mind about the audio outputs. It has 8 individual audio outputs. So each bank has its own dedicated audio output, and there's a monophonic input for recording your own samples. So with our build, the S3-1200, those are the specs that we're going to try to shoot for. So how exactly are we going to accomplish building this sampler? I think the easiest way to do this is to break it down into manageable chunks. So what we're going to do is for each stage of the sampler build, we're going to have a breadboarding video. And in that video, I'll walk through a schematic of the specific circuit that we're working on. Then we will breadboard that circuit on the electronics breadboard. The following video, depending on what piece we're working on, we'll work on the coding and software part of it. We'll do some testing just to make sure that everything is working correctly. And then in the following video, we'll be actually manufacturing a PCB, and that PCB will be like a modular piece that will come together in an enclosure and be connected to the other modules to make the full sampler in the end. So I think this makes the most sense in terms of accomplishing this project, this sort of modular fashion, because it's really going to allow us to take our time and understand each individual piece that we're going to be designing for the S3-1200, and then we'll be able to order parts and pieces as we go without having to invest a bunch of money up front on a whole bunch of parts that we might not even use, right? So I think that makes the most sense. Yeah. that's it. I hope that was clear for everybody. If you have any questions, definitely drop a comment below, or you can hit me up on Patreon or Discord or Instagram or TikTok. It's all available. All the links are in the description. So in the next video, we're going to be breadboarding the power supply. I know it's not the most exciting thing in the world, but we need a clean power supply to make all the other stuff work properly on the S3-1200. So if that's something that interests you, please subscribe to the channel. For those who have subscribed, I salute you, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.